Hello, my friend. Welcome to a time of rest. Before we begin our journey tonight, I want you to take a moment to thank yourself. You have made the choice to stop. In a world that is always moving, always demanding, and always loud, you have chosen to pause. You have chosen to be kind to your mind and your body. There is nothing else you need to do right now. There are no emails to answer, no problems to solve, and no expectations to meet. The day is a finished chapter. The pages are turned. Now you are simply here. Close your eyes gently. Feel the space around you. Feel the surface beneath you. It is solid and steady. Let the weight of your body sink into the mattress. Imagine that gravity is becoming a little bit stronger, pulling you down into a deep, warm embrace. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Let your hands rest loosely by your sides. Notice the air in the room. It is cool and still. This is your sanctuary. This is your safe harbor. As you breathe in deeply, imagine that you are breathing in a soft golden light. And as you breathe out, imagine you are releasing a grey mist. This mist carries all the tension of the day, all the small worries, all the rushing thoughts. Blow them away. Watch them dissolve into the air, disappearing completely. You're becoming lighter. Your body feels heavy with relaxation, but your spirit feels light like a feather caught in a gentle breeze. Now let us begin to drift. Imagine that the ceiling above you is fading away. It does not break or crumble, simply dissolves like mist, revealing the vast velvety night sky above. You are safe, warm and comfortable, but your awareness is beginning to float upward. You are lifting off the bed just an inch at first, then a foot. You float through the roof of your home, rising gently into the cool night air. Look down. You can see your house or your building. It looks peaceful from up here. You see the streetlights casting warm orange pools of light on the pavement. You see the cars moving slowly like small toys. The noise of the traffic is fading. It is no longer a disturbance. It is just a low rhythmic hum, like the sound of the ocean far away. You continue to rise higher and higher. The city spreads out beneath you like a giant map of living light. You see the grid of the streets, the glowing windows of thousands of people, each with their own stories, all settling down for the night. From this height, the chaos of the world looks organized and beautiful. It looks small. The problems that felt so big when you were on the ground now seem tiny, shrinking with every meter you rise. You are detaching from the noise. You are leaving the weight of the world behind. You pass through the clouds. They are like rivers of silver and grey, illuminated by the moonlight. The air here is crisp and pure. You feel a sense of absolute clarity. You're moving through the layers of the atmosphere, that thin blanket of air that wraps around our planet. It gets quieter here. The wind slows down. The blue of the sky deepens into a rich, dark indigo. You are crossing the threshold. You are moving from the known to the unknown, from the noise to the silence. And then you break through. Suddenly, the deep blue fades into absolute perfect black. You have left the atmosphere. You are now floating in the vast, open quiet of space. But this darkness is not scary. It is not empty. It is a soft, unending velvet that wraps around you like a heavy blanket. It is the kind of darkness that invites deep restorative sleep. Turn your gaze back toward where you came from. There it is, the Earth, the blue marble. From here, 400 kilometers up the planet looks magnificent. It is a glowing jewel hanging in the void. You can see the curve of the horizon, a perfect glowing arc. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. The oceans are a deep, calming azure. The clouds are swirling patterns of bright white dancing slowly over the surface. You can see the land masses painted in shades of brown and green. Notice the edge of the planet. There is a thin, glowing line of blue light that separates the Earth from the blackness of space. That is our atmosphere. It looks so delicate from here, like a thin skin of an onion, or a fragile halo protecting everything we love. It reminds you of how precious life is, but also how small our individual worries are in the grand scheme of things. Up here, there are no borders. You cannot see lines on a map. You cannot see countries or conflicts. You only see one whole united home. It is breathing. You can almost feel the slow rhythmic pulse of the planet spinning effortlessly in the dark. It turns at a speed of over 1,000 miles per hour, yet from here it looks perfectly still. It is a silent ballet on a cosmic scale. Listen to the silence. It is profound. On Earth, true silence is rare. There is always a hum, a breeze, a distant voice. But here the silence is absolute. It is a presence in itself. It washes over you, cleaning your mind. It is the sound of peace. In this silence, your thoughts slow down to match the rotation of the Earth. There is no rush here. There is no time here. There is only the eternal now. You are drifting in zero gravity. You feel completely weightless. No pressure on your back, no strain on your neck. You are simply existing. It is the ultimate freedom. You are floating in the front yard of the universe, a silent observer of the greatest show in existence. Look at the side of the Earth that is facing away from the sun. You can see the lights of the cities glowing like gold dust scattered on black velvet. Those lights represent millions of people, all sleeping, all dreaming. You are part of them, yet you are apart from them, watching over them from this high, quiet place. You realize that the darkness of space is not cold, it is peaceful. It is the stillness before creation. It is the canvas upon which the stars are painted. And speaking of stars, look away from the Earth for a moment. Without the filter of the air, the stars are steady, unblinking points of light. They are diamonds, hard and brilliant. They do not twinkle, they simply burn with a steady ancient light. They have been there for billions of years, and they will be there for billions more. Their permanence makes you feel safe. It reminds you that the universe is stable, orderly and vast. You are hovering at the threshold of night. This is the boundary between the busy day of the human world and the eternal night of the cosmos. You are safe here, you're held by the invisible hands of gravity, floating in a perfect orbit. Take a deep breath in, imagining you can breathe this pure starlight energy, and exhale, letting your body soften even more into this feeling of weightlessness. You are a child of this universe. You belong to the stars as much as you belong to the ground. Rest here for a moment. Watch the slow, majestic turn of the blue marble beneath you. Let the blue light of the ocean soothe your eyes. Let the black silence of the void soothe your mind. You have arrived at the edge of the world, and you have found that it is a place of perfect peace. Leaving the warm, rocky embrace of the inner solar system, our journey now takes a dramatic turn into the deep dark. We have left the blue planet far behind, and even the rusted deserts of Mars are now just a speck in the rearview mirror. Ahead lies the realm of the giants. This is a place where the rules of land and soil no longer apply, replaced by swirling clouds, crushing pressure, and a silence so profound it feels heavy on the soul. We are entering the domain of the silent sentinels. To reach them, we first must navigate the asteroid belt. While movies often depict this as a chaotic field of crashing rocks, in reality, it is a lonely expanse of drift and shadow. It marks the boundary line. Once we cross this threshold, the sun becomes smaller, its heat fading to a pale, distant light. The darkness here is not empty, it is waiting. And rising out of that darkness is the undisputed king of our neighbourhood, Jupiter. As we approach Jupiter, the sheer scale of this planet is difficult for the human mind to comprehend. It is a colossal ball of gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, massive enough to hold more than 1,000 Earths inside its belly. It does not have a solid surface to stand on. If you were to try to land here, you would simply sink through thicker and thicker clouds until the pressure crushed you. But there is a terrible beauty in this violence. The planet is painted in stripes of burnt orange, cream and brown. These are not quiet clouds, they are violent jet streams moving at hundreds of miles per hour, spinning in opposite directions. Dominating this chaotic canvas is the Great Red Spot, a storm that has been raging for hundreds of years. This single storm is wide enough to swallow the entire Earth whole. Standing before Jupiter, one feels incredibly small, a temporary spark in the face of a storm that lasts for centuries. However, we do not look at Jupiter with fear. We look at him with gratitude. For billions of years, this giant has served as the great protector of our small, fragile world. Because Jupiter is so massive, his gravity is immense. He acts like a giant vacuum cleaner for the solar system. When dangerous comets or stray asteroids come flying in from the dark outer edges, aiming for the inner planets, Jupiter's gravity often catches them. He pulls them off course, flinging them out of the solar system or swallowing them into his own thick atmosphere. Without this silent, massive guard standing watch in the dark, life on Earth might have been wiped out by asteroid impacts long ago. He takes the hits so we do not have to. He is the shield that allows our garden to grow. Leaving the king behind, we drift further out, travelling hundreds of millions of miles deeper into the freeze. The journey here is slow and quiet. Then slowly the darkness is broken by a sight that is considered the jewel of the heaven, Saturn. If Jupiter is the muscle, Saturn is the architect. There is nothing else like it in our family of planets. At first glance it looks surreal, like a drawing hanging in the void. The planet itself is a pale gold, calm and hazy, but it is the rings that steal the breath away. From a distance, they look like solid, smooth disks of light circling the planet. But as we draw closer, the illusion they have shatters into billions of sparkling pieces. These rings are not solid. They are made of countless chunks of water, ice, and rock. Some are as small as grains of sand, while others are as large as mountains. They are all dancing in a perfect circle held in place by gravity reflecting the distant sunlight, like diamonds scattered on black velvet. It is a scene of absolute frozen perfection. Navigating near Saturn, you are struck by the peace of it. Despite the winds that blow across the planet, the rings seem motionless, suspended in a delicate balance. It is a reminder that the universe can create masterpieces of structure without any human hands involved. The light here is dim, about 100 times fainter than on Earth, casting long, soft shadows across the ice. It is a ghostly golden twilight that never ends. Moving past these two giants, we begin to feel the true nature of the outer solar system. It is a place of extreme cold. The temperature here drops to hundreds of degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. It is a cold so deep that it stops almost all chemical reactions. Here, everything is preserved in a state of suspended animation. Yet there is no fear in this cold. There is only a sense of majesty. Out here, far from the busy noise of Earth, there is a profound stillness. The sun is just a very bright star now, no longer a burning ball of fire in the sky. The planets here, Jupiter and Saturn, do not worry about seasons or years. They rotate with a heavy rhythmic momentum that has continued since the birth of the sun. As we float in the shadow of these giants, we feel a sense of safety. The chaos of the inner solar system, the heat, the solar flares, the busy radio waves of humanity cannot reach us here. We are in the cathedral of the cosmos. It is lonely, yes. The distances between things are measured in years of travel, not hours. But it is not a sad loneliness. It is a peaceful solitude. These silent sentinels stand guard at the gates of the deep dark. They are the heavy anchors that keep our solar system stable. They catch the wandering stones. They shepherd the flocks of icy moons. They hold the line against the emptiness of interstellar space. As we drift past them, looking back toward the tiny spark of warmth that is our home, and looking forward into the endless night of the outer rim, we realize that we are not just random accidents. We are living in a sheltered pocket of space protected by these massive, swirling, beautiful brothers who have circled the fire for eons, keeping the dark at bay. We have now travelled so far that the sun is no longer a giant ball of fire dominating the sky. It has shrunk. It is becoming small, just a very bright point of light, shrinking with every second that passes. We are reaching the edge of the sun's territory, a boundary called the heliosphere. Think of the heliosphere as a giant bubble blown by the sun. Inside this bubble, we are protected by the solar wind, a stream of magnetic energy and particles that the sun breathes out. But now we are crossing the skin of that bubble. Suddenly the solar wind stops, the protection is gone. We are stepping out of our home and into the wild open weather of the galaxy. This is the moment we officially leave the solar system. We are passing through the Oort cloud. This is not a cloud like you see in the sky on Earth. It is a massive spherical shell made of billions of icy rocks and frozen comets. They are the leftovers from when our solar system was born. They float here in the dark, moving very slowly like sleeping ghosts. They are so far apart that we do not even see them. We only know they are there, drifting in the deep freeze, waiting for a push of gravity to send them falling toward the sun. But we are moving away. We are moving past the graveyard of ice into the true unknown. Now imagine you are inside the Voyager spacecraft. For decades, this machine has been working hard. Its antennas have been buzzing, its heaters humming, its thrusters firing small bursts of gas to keep it steady. It has been loud, busy, and alive. But now the mission is changing. To save energy for the long, endless journey ahead, we must shut down the non-essential systems. Imagine reaching for the switch. You press a button, the hum of the electronics fades away. The slight vibration of the engine, which you have felt in your feet for years, shudders once and then stops completely. The lights on the dashboard dim and then go dark. The constant background noise of the ship, the fans, the pumps, the signals vanishes. Silence. This is not the quiet of a library or an empty room. This is absolute silence. On Earth, sound travels through the air. It vibrates against your eardrums. But here in the space between stars, there is no air. There are no molecules to carry the sound. If you were to scream, the sound would not leave your lips. If a giant asteroid crashed into another, it would make no noise at all. The silence is heavy. It feels like a thick velvet blanket wrapping around the ship. It is a peaceful, deep silence that has existed for billions of years. With the engines off, you might expect the ship to stop moving. But in space, there is no friction. There is no water to slow you down, no air to push against you. So even though the engines are dead, you continue to glide forward at exactly the same speed. This is the law of inertia. You are a bullet flying through a vacuum. But because there are no nearby objects to pass, no trees or buildings whizzing by, it feels like you are not moving at all. This is the floating sensation. You unbuckle your seatbelt. Your body lifts gently out of the chair. You are weightless. You float in the center of the dark cabin, turning slowly in the air. Outside the window, the view does not change. The stars look exactly the same today as they will tomorrow and the year after that. They are frozen in place. This creates a feeling of time standing still. You are suspended in a jar of black ink. There is no up, no down, no east or west. There is only you, the ship, and the endless drift. We have entered the interstellar ocean. This is the space between the stars. It is not completely empty, but it is thinner than the best vacuum we can create in a laboratory on Earth. It is filled with a very thin gas, mostly hydrogen and cosmic dust. It is the ocean that separates the islands of the stars. To understand how big this ocean is, we cannot use miles or kilometers anymore. The numbers would be too big to write down. We have to use a different ruler, the speed of light. Light is the fastest thing in the universe. It travels at 300,000 kilometers every single second. That is fast enough to circle the Earth 7 times in one heartbeat. A light year is simply the distance that light can travel if it never stops for one full Earth year. It is a distance of about 9.5 trillion kilometers. The nearest star to us is over 4 light years away. Think about that. If you turned on a giant flashlight right now, the beam of light would have to travel through the dark for 4 years before it hit the next solar system. And we are traveling much, much slower than light. For us, the journey to the next star will not take years. It will take tens of thousands of years. This realization should not make you feel small or scared. Instead, let it bring you a sense of calm. The distances are so vast that there is no rush. There is no deadline. The anxiety of Earth, the meetings, the traffic, the ticking clock does not exist here. Here, 1,000 years is like a blink of an eye. Look out into the blackness. It is not scary. It is clean. It is pure. The darkness is not a monster hiding in the corner. It is a peaceful, cool liquid that holds the galaxy together. You are drifting in the largest ocean of all. The temperature outside is just a few degrees above absolute zero. It is the coldest, stillest place imaginable. As you float there, spinning gently in the zero gravity, looking out at the fixed points of the distant stars, you realize that you are completely isolated. You are further away from other humans than anyone has ever been. But this isolation is not lonely. It is a release. It is a freedom. You are a tiny speck of dust floating in a cathedral of grand silence. There is nothing to do but watch. There is nothing to do but be. You are a traveller in the long night, drifting on a calm black sea that has no shore. The ship carries you forward, silent and dark, a metal seed floating in the void, peaceful and asleep, drifting forever into the starlight. If space were a great dark ocean, then nebulae would be its coral reefs. They are the colourful glowing islands where life in the universe begins. After travelling through the empty darkness, we now arrive at the most beautiful places in the cosmos. These are the nurseries of light where stars are born from nothing but dust and patience. A nebula is essentially a giant cloud. However, it is not like the fluffy white clouds you see in the Earth's sky, which are made of water vapour. A cosmic nebula is made of gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, and tiny particles of dust. These clouds are so vast that it would take light years to cross them. They are the art studios of the universe waiting to sculpt the next generation of suns. The Great Hunter. Visiting Orion. Our first stop is one of the most famous sights in the night sky, the Orion Nebula. You do not need a giant telescope to find it. You can sometimes see it with just your eyes as a fuzzy star in the sword of the Hunter constellation. Imagine floating closer to it. It looks like a glowing cave filled with neon mists. The colours are breathtaking deep violets, electric blues, and burning pinks. These colours are not painted on. They are caused by the energy of young, massive stars hidden deep inside the cloud. These newborn stars are fierce and bright. They blast out energy that hits the surrounding gas, making the gas glow like a fluorescent light bulb. In Orion, we see the universe in a state of creation. It is messy, chaotic, and incredibly beautiful. It reminds us that even in the cold vacuum of space there is warmth and activity. The sculptures of the cosmos, the pillars of creation. Moving deeper into the galaxy, we find the Eagle Nebula home to the famous structures known as the Pillars of Creation. Imagine 3 gigantic towers of gas and dust standing tall against the starry background. They look like ancient stone columns in a ruined temple, but they are light years tall. These pillars are being eroded, much like sandcastles on a beach are eroded by the wind. But the wind here is actually powerful ultraviolet radiation coming from hot young stars nearby. The radiation blows away the lighter gas, leaving behind denser pockets of material. Inside these dense pockets, shielded from the harsh radiation, new stars are quietly forming. It is a protective embrace. The pillars look solid and unmoving, but they are actually changing every moment, slowly dissolving to reveal the diamonds hidden inside them. How a star is born, the gravity trap. How does a cloud of dust turn into a shining sun? It is a story of gravity and pressure. Imagine the dust in these nebulae floating peacefully. Suddenly something disturbs the cloud, perhaps a shockwave from an exploding star nearby. This push causes the dust to clump together. As the clump gets bigger, its gravity gets stronger. It starts to pull in more and more dust from around it. This process is like a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering more snow and getting heavier. In space, as this ball of gas collapses inward, it starts to spin. The center gets squeezed tighter and tighter. When you squeeze a gas, it gets hot. The center of this collapsing cloud becomes a protostar, a baby star. It is not yet a true star because it is not yet shining with its own power. It is just glowing from the heat of the crash. The gravity continues to crush the center. The temperature rises to millions of degrees. Finally, the heat and pressure become so intense that atoms can no longer stay apart. Hydrogen atoms smash into each other and fuse together to create helium. Snap. Nuclear fusion begins. The star ignites. A sudden wind of energy blasts outward, clearing away the leftover dust. A new light creates a hole in the dark cloud. A star is born. It is a violent, dangerous process, but the result is the calm, steady light that gives life to planets. Colors the eye cannot see. When we look at these photos of nebulae, we often wonder, is this what it really looks like? The answer is fascinating. Our human eyes are limited. We only see a tiny part of the light that exists, which we call visible light. It is like listening to a piano but only being able to hear the middle octave. The universe, however, plays the full keyboard. To understand the full beauty of a nebula, we must use our imagination to see the invisible colors. Infrared light. It is the light of heat. Visible light gets blocked by the thick dust clouds it cannot get through. But infrared light can pass right through the dust. If you looked at the pillars of creation with infrared eyes, the dark towers would vanish and you would see thousands of sparkling baby stars hiding inside them that were previously invisible. It is like using an X-ray to see the bones inside a body. X-ray light. This is the color of high energy. When a star is born, it often screams with power. If we looked with X-ray eyes, we would see violent jets of gas shooting out from the young stars, spinning and crashing into the surroundings. So the images scientists create often combine these different colors to show us the full reality. They paint the infrared in red and the X-rays in blue, allowing our minds to see what our eyes cannot. The cycle of hope. Leaving these nurseries, we are left with a profound feeling of hope. In the previous part of our journey, we talked about the death of stars and black holes. It felt final and sad, but here in the nebulae, we see that death is not the end. The dust that makes up these beautiful clouds often comes from stars that died long ago. The universe recycles everything. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, and the carbon in your lungs were once inside a star that exploded. That explosion created the dust that formed a nebula. That nebula collapsed to form our sun and the Earth. We are standing in a gallery of rebirth. The Orion Nebula and the pillars of creation are not just pretty pictures, they are a promise. They tell us that out of darkness, light will always return, out of chaos, structure will emerge. The universe is not a static dead place. It is a garden that is constantly growing, blooming, dying, and blooming again. As we drift away from the glowing clouds, we realize that we are not separate from this process. We are the children of this stardust, conscious enough to look back at our nursery and marvel at its beauty. As we pull away from the familiar warmth of our solar system, we are not entering an empty void. Instead, we are stepping back to view the grandest architecture we have ever known. Imagine a camera zooming out further and further until the sun is just one tiny pixel of light among millions. We have arrived at the galactic city. This is the Milky Way. From this vantage point, looking down from far above the structure is breathtaking. It does not look random. It looks designed elegant and purposeful. It is a magnificent spiral, a glowing pinwheel, spinning slowly in the silence of deep space. Across a span of 100,000 light-years, gravity has sculpted gas, dust, and fire into a shape of perfect balance. This is not just a collection of rocks and gas, it's a metropolis of light. The first thing you notice is the sheer number of inhabitants. There are hundreds of billions of stars here. If you were to count one star every second, it would take you thousands of years to count them all. Yet in this panoramic view, they blend together. They are like the streetlights of a sprawling city seen from an airplane window at night. Some are bright and blue like the neon lights of a busy downtown district. Others are soft yellow and steady like the warm lamps of a quiet neighbourhood. Our sun is just one of these quiet lamps tucked away in a suburban street known as the Orion Arm. The structure of this city is defined by its spiral arms. These are the great avenues and highways of the galaxy. They curve gracefully out from the centre to wrapping around the core like ribbons. These arms are places of action and life. They are dense with clouds of gas and dust which act as the construction sites of the galaxy. Inside these clouds, new stars are being born right now, igniting into life and adding their fresh light to the city skyline. Everything here is in motion. Nothing is standing still. Just as cars move along a highway, the stars move along these spiral arms, but the traffic here flows with a majestic slowness. It takes our sun about 230 million years to make just one full trip around the city centre. This rotation is not chaotic, it is a synchronized dance. Every star knows its lane, every cloud of gas follows the flow. There is a rhythm to this movement, a heartbeat that has been pulsing for billions of years. As we drift inward, leaving the quieter suburbs behind, we approach the downtown area of the galactic bulge. Here the scenery changes dramatically. The distance between the stars shrinks. In our neighbourhood, stars are far apart like houses with large backyards. But here in the centre, the stars are packed tight like skyscrapers in a crowded city centre. The light here is intense. If you lived on a planet near the core, you would never know true darkness. The sky would be a blaze of starlight day and night. Old red giant stars dominate this region, ancient citizens that have watched the galaxy turn for eons. Moving deeper still, we push through heavy curtains of dust to reach the very heart of the city. In the centre of most stories there is a monster. But in the story of our galaxy there is no monster. There is only a king. We have arrived at Sagittarius A star. This is a supermassive black hole. For a long time humans thought of black holes as hungry beasts devouring everything that came too close. But looking at it now, resting in the absolute centre of the Milky Way, we do not feel fear. We feel a deep sense of respect. Sagittarius A star is 4 million times more massive than our Sun. It is invisible to the eye, a point of infinite density wrapped in a cloak of darkness. But around it we see a swirling ring of glowing gas spinning at incredible speeds. This ring shines brighter than 1,000 suns, marking the boundary of the king's throne. Instead of seeing this as a hole of destruction, we see it as the anchor. Just as the sun holds the Earth in orbit, preventing us from flying off into the cold dark, this supermassive black hole helps anchor the centre of the galaxy. It is the conductor of this cosmic orchestra. Its immense gravity creates a centre point for the dance. It dictates the rules. It commands the movement. Without this heavy, silent anchor in the middle, the centre of the galaxy might lose its structure. It brings order to what could have been chaos. Watching the stars orbit this black hole is mesmerising. They whip around it at tremendous speeds like race cars on a track, yet they do not crash. They follow the invisible curves of gravity with perfect precision. It is a display of the laws of physics in their most extreme and beautiful form. Gravity is not a cage here, it is the glue that holds the city together. Standing here mentally floating near the galactic core, a realization washes over you. You are not separate from this. For a long time, humans looked up at the Milky Way as a band of white light across the night sky, something over there. Now you understand you are in it, you are of it. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, and the carbon in your cells, all of it was cooked in the hearts of stars like these. When those stars died, they blew that dust out into the galaxy, into the clouds we passed earlier. That dust collapsed to form our sun, our Earth, and eventually you. You are a child of this galactic city. You are stardust that has come alive to look back at its home. This spiral structure is not just a pretty shape in a telescope, it is your ecosystem. It is your continent in the universe. The gravity that swirls these arms and holds the stars in place is the same force that keeps your feet on the ground. There is no separation. As we linger here looking at the swirling majesty of the Milky Way, the feeling of loneliness vanishes. How can we be lonely when we are surrounded by 400 billion neighbours? How can we feel lost when we can see the pattern? The galaxy is not a cold, indifferent place. It is a garden. It is a clockwork masterpiece. It is a bustling, vibrant, orderly city of light, and it has been nurturing us since long before we knew it existed. We belong here. We are exactly where we are supposed to be, safe in the quiet suburbs of a beautiful spiral slowly dancing around the great, silent anchor in the dark. If you look up into the night sky on a very dark, clear night away from the bright lights of the city, you might spot a faint, fuzzy smudge of light. It looks like a small, quiet cloud. This is not a star, and it is not a cloud within our own atmosphere. You're looking at the Andromeda Galaxy. It is the most distant object that the human eye can see without a telescope. The light hitting your eyes from that faint smudge left its home 2.5 million years ago, long before human civilization began. To us, Andromeda looks silent and still frozen in the black velvet of space, but this stillness is an illusion caused by the vastness of distance. In reality, Andromeda is rushing toward us. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, and our neighbour Andromeda are falling toward each other. We are moving together at a speed of roughly 110 kilometers every second. Hearing this might sound frightening, like a cosmic car crash waiting to happen. However, when we look at the universe with the perspective of deep time, we realize that this is not a story of destruction. It is a story of union. It is a transformation. It is a dance that has been choreographed by gravity since the very beginning of the universe. This event will not happen tomorrow or in the next 1,000 years. It will happen in approximately 4 billion years. This creates a concept known as deep time. It is a scale of time so huge that our human brains struggle to comprehend it. To the universe, 4 billion years is just a season. It is simply the time it takes for the tide to come in. When we think of a collision here on Earth, we imagine things smashing together and breaking. But galaxies are not solid objects like cars or stones, they are mostly empty space. Imagine if the sun were the size of a ping-pong ball. On that scale, the next nearest star would be a ping-pong ball more than 1,000 kilometers away. Because the space between the stars is so incredibly vast, when galaxies collide, the stars themselves almost never hit each other. They simply pass by one another, like two ghosts walking through each other in a hallway or two, clouds of smoke mixing in the wind. So 4 billion years from now, if there are eyes looking up from a planet in our solar system, they will not see fire and chaos. They will see the most spectacular light show in the history of the heavens. As the eons pass, the faint smudge of Andromeda will grow larger and larger in our night sky. It will eventually become as bright as the full moon, and then even brighter. It will stretch across the heavens, a magnificent spiral of billions of stars glowing with soft blue and gold light. The gravity of Andromeda will begin to pull on the Milky Way, and the gravity of the Milky Way will pull back. This mutual pulling is the beginning of the dance. The rigid spiral shapes of both galaxies will begin to distort and stretch. Great long streamers of stars called tidal tails will be thrown out into the darkness, painting arcs of light across the void. It will look like a slow-motion waltz performed by giants. The gas clouds within both galaxies will be compressed by this movement, lighting up like fireworks as they give birth to millions of brand new stars. The sky will be ablaze with the energy of creation. Over hundreds of millions of years, the two galaxies will pass through each other, turn around and come back together, swinging back and forth until they finally settle down. They will merge completely to form a single massive elliptical galaxy. Scientists have given this future home a new name, Milkomeda. This story teaches us a profound emotional lesson about change. We often fear change because we see it as an ending. We worry about things staying the same. We want to hold on to the present moment. But the universe shows us that even the largest structures in existence, galaxies containing hundreds of billions of stars, are not permanent. They are fluid. They are constantly evolving. The Milky Way will not die when it meets Andromeda. It will evolve. It will become something new, something larger, and perhaps even more beautiful. The stars that make up our home will still be there shining just as brightly, but they will be part of a grander choir. This perspective allows us to slow down. In our daily lives, we rush from one task to another, worrying about minutes and hours. We feel anxiety when things shift or when we lose control, but when we look at the coming dance of Milkomeda, we are reminded to breathe. The universe does not rush. It takes billions of years to create its masterpiece. We can find comfort in this slowness. We can find peace in the idea that we are part of a flow that is much older and much larger than our worries. Just as the stars will slide past each other without colliding, we can learn to let the changes in our lives flow through us without breaking us. We can accept that the things we know today might look different tomorrow, and that is okay. The collision is not an apocalypse, it is a marriage. The two great gravity wells at the centre of the galaxies, the supermassive black holes, will eventually find each other and merge, sending ripples of gravitational waves humming through the fabric of space-time. The chaotic spirals will settle into a calm golden sphere of ancient stars. By accepting the future reality of Milkomeda, we practice the art of acceptance. We accept that we are small, but we are also part of something magnificent that never truly ends, only changes form. We can look at the sky not with fear of the dark void, but with an appreciation for the slow, elegant dance of gravity. We are witnessing a love story between two galaxies that spans eons. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by how fast the world is changing, remember the Andromeda Galaxy. Remember that it is rushing toward us not to destroy us, but to join us. Remember that even in the greatest collisions of the cosmos there is a hidden order, a safety in the emptiness, and a promise of a new beginning. We are creatures of the moment living in a universe of eternity, and in that eternity, everything eventually comes together in a beautiful silent dance. We have now travelled far beyond the familiar lights of our home. We have left the Earth, left the solar system, and even stepped outside the spiral arms of the Milky Way. In our last journey, we looked at the local group, that small dance of galaxies where our neighbours like Andromeda reside. But now we must pull back even further. We must zoom out until the Milky Way and Andromeda are nothing more than two tiny specks of glittering dust in a much larger room. Welcome to the true scale of our existence. Welcome to Laniakea. In the Hawaiian language, Laniakea means immeasurable heaven. It is a perfect name. When we look at the universe from this distance, we stop seeing individual stars. Instead, we see a structure that looks like a glowing spiderweb, or perhaps the delicate veins on a leaf, or the neural network of a human brain. This is our supercluster. It is a collection of 100,000 galaxies stretching over 500 million light-years. And yet, despite its massive size, it is not chaotic, it is organised, it is moving. For a long time, humans thought of space as a static, frozen void. We imagined galaxies hanging in the dark like ornaments on a Christmas tree, staying exactly where they were placed. But we were wrong. The universe is not a painting, it is a movie. It is alive with motion. It is fluid. Imagine you are floating in a vast ocean. You cannot see the shore and the water seems still. But if you relax and stop swimming, you realize you are moving. There is a deep, silent current underneath you carrying you in a specific direction. This is exactly what is happening to our galaxy right now. Gravity is usually described as a force that pulls things together, like an apple falling to the ground or the moon orbiting the Earth. But on this colossal scale, gravity acts like a river. It creates invisible pathways through the cosmos. It carves out valleys in the fabric of space. All the galaxies in our neighborhood, including our own, are caught in one of these great cosmic currents. We are drifting, we are flowing, we are moving at a speed of about 600 kilometers every single second. We are not steering this ship. We are simply passengers on the water. Where are we going? If you trace the flow of all these thousands of galaxies, you see that we are all heading toward the same destination. Astronomers call this mysterious place the Great Attractor. It sounds intimidating, doesn't it? The Great Attractor. It sits at the center of our Laniakea supercluster. It is a region of space with a gravitational pull so strong, so intense, that it is dragging millions of galaxies toward it. It is the bottom of the valley. It is the waterfall at the end of the river. Interestingly, we cannot see the Great Attractor clearly. It is hidden behind a thick curtain of dust and gas from our own galaxy, creating a blind spot in the sky that astronomers call the zone of avoidance. It remains a mystery, a hidden giant in the dark. We cannot see it, but we know it is there because we can feel it pulling us. We can see the river of the universe bending toward it. This scientific reality holds a profound emotional truth. In our daily lives, we often feel the need to control everything. We paddle furiously against the current. We try to force outcomes to steer our lives exactly where we think they should go. We fight against time, we fight against change, and we fight against the circumstances we find ourselves in. We are terrified of losing control. We are afraid that if we stop rowing, we will drown. But look at the galaxies. Look at the sheer majesty of Laniakea. These massive structures containing billions of stars and planets do not fight. The Milky Way does not struggle against the pull of the Great Attractor. It does not try to swim upstream, it surrenders to the flow. It allows the gravity of the universe to carry it where it needs to go. There is a deep peace in this realization. The universe behaves like a liquid. It flows. And because we are part of the universe, we are part of that flow too. Imagine just for a moment that you stop fighting. Imagine you put down the oars. Imagine you lie back in the boat, look up at the sky and let the river take you. The river of gravity teaches us that there is a direction to things, even if we cannot see the destination. We cannot see the great attractor. It is hidden from our view. In the same way we often cannot see the future. We do not know where our lives are taking us. We do not know what lies around the next bend of the river. This uncertainty often causes anxiety, but here in the vastness of the supercluster it should cause relief. You do not have to know the way. You do not have to force the path. The current is already there. The gravity of your life, your circumstances, your environment, the natural progression of time is already guiding you. Surrender is not about giving up. It is not about weakness. Surrender is an act of trust. It is trusting that the water will hold you up. It is trusting that the current knows where it is going. Think of the energy you spend trying to swim against the tide of your life. Think of the exhaustion that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. Now imagine releasing that tension. Let your muscles relax. Let your breath slow down. You are a galaxy. You are a point of light floating in a great dark ocean. You are being carried by forces much larger than yourself. You are safe in the flow. As we drift through the veins of Laniakea, moving together with thousands of other galaxies, the silence of space becomes a lullaby. We are not isolated specks lost in the dark. We are drops of water in a cosmic stream. We are moving in unison. There is no need to rush. At cosmic scales, movement is graceful and slow. It takes billions of years for these changes to happen. There is no urgency here. The universe is never in a hurry, and yet everything gets done. So as we drift towards the mysterious center, let yourself feel the weightlessness of surrender. Let go of the steering wheel. The river of gravity is gentle and it is strong. It has carried the stars for billions of years and it will carry you too. Drift, float, trust. We are flowing home. Now we must take the final and most difficult step in our journey. We have traveled from our home planet past the burning stars, through the swirling nebulas, and outside the boundaries of our own galaxy. We have even looked at the clusters where thousands of galaxies dance together. But to see the true shape of reality, we must zoom out even further. We must go so far back that entire galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars, become nothing more than tiny specks of light. At this incredible distance, the universe undergoes a transformation. It no longer looks like a random collection of islands floating in the dark. Instead, a pattern emerges. A structure appears out of the chaos. When we look at the universe on this massive scale, we see that it is not empty and it is not disorganized. It is built. We call this structure the cosmic web. Imagine looking at a spider web glistening in the morning dew. You see thin, delicate threads connecting to one another, creating a complex network. Now, imagine that those threads are not made of silk, but are made of millions of galaxies strung together like pearls on a necklace. This is what the universe looks like. It is a vast three-dimensional tapestry stretching across billions of light years. These massive strands are called filaments. They are the largest known structures in existence. They are rivers of gravity and light flowing through the dark. These filaments act like superhighways. Matter and gas flow along these roads, pulled by gravity, traveling across the universe to feed the dense knots where the threads intersect. At these intersections, where giant filaments cross paths, we find the massive galaxy clusters we saw earlier. These are the cities of the cosmos, bustling with activity, fed by the great roads of the web. But between these shining threads, there are vast empty spaces. These are called cosmic voids. They are gigantic bubbles of almost nothingness. If the filaments are the walls of a house, the voids are the empty rooms inside. Some of these voids are hundreds of millions of light years across. They are dark, cold, and lonely. However, they are just as important as the bright parts. They define the shape of the web. The universe looks very much like a giant sea sponge, a structure filled with holes, but holding together as one solid piece. You might wonder what holds this impossible structure together. Why don't the galaxies just fly apart? Why do they form these specific lines and webs? The answer lies in something we cannot see, touch, or feel. It is the greatest mystery in modern physics. We call it dark matter. Think of dark matter as the invisible skeleton of the universe. When you look at a human body, you see the skin and muscle, but you know there is a skeleton underneath giving it shape. In the universe, the skin is the normal matter. We can see stars, gas planets, and us. But that visible stuff makes up only a tiny fraction of what is out there. For every 1 kilogram of normal matter, there are about 5 kilograms of this invisible dark matter. Dark matter does not reflect light. It does not block light, it does not glow, it is completely transparent. We only know it is there because of its gravity. It is heavy, it pulls on things. Without dark matter, the cosmic web would dissolve. The rotation of galaxies would tear them apart. The filaments would fade away. Dark matter provides the gravity that acts as the glue holding the entire web in place. It is the scaffolding, the hidden framework upon which the beautiful lights of the universe are hung. As we stare at this simulation of the cosmic web, the glowing filaments of galaxies, the dark voids, and the invisible scaffolding, we begin to notice something profound, something that feels deeply familiar. If you were to look at a microscopic image of a neuron, a single brain cell, and its connections in the human brain, and then place it next to a simulation of the cosmic web, you would be shocked. They look nearly identical. The way our brain cells connect to one another, sending signals across little bridges to form a network of thoughts and consciousness, looks exactly like the way galaxies connect across the universe to form the cosmic web. The mathematics that describe how a brain grows are startlingly similar to the mathematics that describe how the universe grows. One is the smallest, most complex biological structure we know. The other is the largest physical structure in existence, and yet they mirror each other. This brings us to a feeling that sits right on the border between hard science and deep spirituality. It is the realization of interconnectedness. For a long time, humans felt small and isolated. We looked up and felt that the universe was a cold, distant place, and we were just an accident happening on a lonely rock. But the cosmic web tells us a different story. It tells us that nothing is truly isolated. Every galaxy is connected to every other galaxy through these filaments of gravity. The matter that makes up your body was cooked in stars that were part of this great flow. We are not just in the universe, we are of the universe. We are part of the structure. The same patterns that exist in the vast darkness of space exist inside your own head. It is as if the universe repeats its favourite songs, playing the same melody on a violin and then again on a giant cello. The phrase "as above, so below" becomes more than just a philosophical saying, it becomes a scientific observation. When we look at the cosmic web, we are looking at a single unified system. It breathes, it evolves, it moves. It is a network of energy and matter that ties everything together. From the iron in your blood to the giant black holes at the centre of distant clusters, we are all caught in the same web, bound by the same invisible threads. So as we float here, visualizing this grand network of purple and blue light stretching into infinity, try to feel that connection. You're not small in a way that makes you unimportant. You're small like an atom is small essential to the whole. You're a piece of the universe that has woken up, opened its eyes, and begun to look at itself. The web connects us all. We are the way the cosmos knows itself, and in this vast, terrifying, beautiful network of light and dark, we are never truly alone. We are home. To understand where we are going, we must first understand where we came from. In our journey through the cosmos, we have looked at the violent death of stars and the dancing gravity of black holes. Now we turn our gaze backward, rewinding the clock of the universe. We are not just looking at space anymore, we are looking at time. To do this, we use the most powerful time machine humanity has ever built, the James Webb Space Telescope. While a normal telescope might look like a tube with a lens, the James Webb is different. It looks like a giant golden honeycomb floating in the deep freeze of space far away from Earth. It does not look at the universe with the same eyes that we have. Our eyes see visible light the colours of the rainbow, but the universe is expanding, stretching out in all directions. As space stretches, the light travelling through it stretches too. Light that was once bright and blue at the beginning of time has been pulled and stretched over billions of years until it turned red, and then eventually stretched so far it became invisible to the human eye. It became infrared light, which is essentially heat. The James Webb Telescope was built to see this ancient heat. It captures the faint, dying warmth of the very first stars and galaxies, allowing us to peer through the dusty curtains of the cosmos to see what lies behind them. When we look through this golden eye, we are looking into the past. We drift past the spiral arms of modern galaxies. We float past the chaotic formations of the early universe. We go deeper and deeper until we hit a wall. This is not a wall of brick or stone, but a wall of fog. This is the era of the cosmic microwave background. Scientists often call it the CMB. Imagine looking at the sky and seeing a faint glow coming from everywhere at once. This glow is not coming from a star or a galaxy or a planet. It is the leftover heat from the Big Bang itself. It is the oldest light in the universe. For a long time, this light was a mystery. When you used to turn on an old television set to a channel that did not exist, you would see black and white static chaos dancing on the screen. A small percentage of that static was actually the cosmic microwave background. The antenna on the TV was picking up the ancient whisper of the universe's creation. It is a signal that surrounds us, constantly flowing through the earth and through our bodies, a ghost from the beginning of time. To understand why this light exists, we have to imagine the universe before there were stars. We have to imagine a time of absolute terrifying heat. Long before the first sun ignited, the universe was a soup of raw energy. It was incredibly hot and incredibly dense. In this state, atoms as we know them could not exist. It was too hot for electrons to settle down and orbit around the center of an atom. Instead, everything was crashing into everything else. Because of this chaos, light was trapped. Imagine trying to shine a flashlight through a thick carton of milk. The light cannot get through, it just bounces around inside the liquid. The early universe was like that hot, dense milk. It was a glowing fog. Light particles known as photons would try to travel, but they would instantly hit an electron and bounce off. The universe was opaque. It held its secrets close. This state lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. There was no darkness, only a blinding, scattering brightness that went nowhere. Then a moment of pure magic happened. This is often called the moment of first light, or in scientific terms, recombination. As the universe expanded, it began to cool down. The temperature dropped just enough to about 3,000 degrees Celsius, which allowed the chaos to settle. For the first time, the frantic electrons slowed down enough to be captured by protons. They formed the very first complete atoms of hydrogen. Suddenly, the fog cleared. With the electrons now locked into orbits around atoms, the path was clear. The light that had been trapped for so long was suddenly free to travel. In a single instant, the universe went from being a cloudy fog to being transparent. That flash of light released billions of years ago is what we see today as the cosmic microwave background. It has been travelling toward us ever since, stretching out as the universe grows, cooling down from a blinding orange glow to a cold, invisible microwave hum. When the James Webb Telescope or other sensitive instruments map this light, they show us a baby picture of the universe. It looks like a speckled oval, mostly uniform, but with tiny, tiny differences in temperature. These tiny differences are the echo of beginning. They are the most important ripples in history. If the early universe had been perfectly smooth, perfectly the same everywhere, we would not exist. Gravity would have had nothing to grab onto. But because there were these tiny imperfections areas slightly denser than others, gravity had a foothold. These slightly heavier spots began to pull in more and more matter. Over millions of years, these clumps of gas grew heavy and hot, eventually igniting to become the first stars and galaxies. But before those stars ignited, there was a period known as the Dark Ages. Between the moment the fog cleared and the moment the first star turned on, there was a long, deep silence. The universe was dark, vast, and quiet. It was a time of pure potential. There was no life, no planets, no metal, no dust. There was only the gentle flow of hydrogen gas and the silent pull of gravity. There is a profound emotional purity in thinking about this era. Today, our universe is noisy. It is filled with exploding stars, colliding black holes, and the radio signals of civilizations. But back then, it was pristine. It was a blank canvas waiting for the first stroke of paint. Looking back at this time is a humbling experience. We are searching for our own origins. Every atom in your body, every piece of rock on Earth, and every drop of water in the ocean can trace its history back to the events that followed this great silence. The cosmic microwave background acts as a boundary. It is the curtain we cannot see past with light. It stands as a reminder that there are limits to what we can see, but no limits to what we can imagine. It tells us that the universe was once one single unified thing before it shattered into the billions of galaxies we see today. When we look at that ancient light, we are not looking at something alien. We are looking at the afterglow of our own birth. We are seeing the echo of the event that started everything. It is a reminder that before the complexity of life, before the drama of human history, and before the burning of the stars, there was a simple, elegant beginning. The telescope allows us to witness this silence. It allows us to sit in the quiet dark of the cosmos and listen to the oldest story ever told, the story of how the light broke free. We are standing at the edge of the map, looking out into the deepest waters of time. We have travelled from the violent burst of the beginning through the fiery youth of stars and past the teeming complexity of life. Now we turn our eyes toward the very end of the road. This is not a story of destruction or pain. It is a story of settling down. It is the story of the universe finally closing its eyes after a very long, busy day. To understand where we are going, we must first look at the space around us. For a long time, we thought the universe might one day snap back like a rubber band, pulling everything together in a big crunch. But the evidence tells us a different story. The universe is not slowing down, it is speeding up. The empty space between galaxies is stretching. It is pushing everything apart. Imagine you are standing on a balloon that is being inflated. As it gets bigger, every point on the balloon moves further away from every other point. This is our reality. A dark, mysterious energy is pushing the cosmos outward faster and faster. Eventually, the other galaxies will move away from us so quickly that their light can no longer reach us. They will simply fade from the sky, slipping over the horizon of visibility. We will be left alone in our own quiet patch of dark space. This might sound lonely, but there is a grander theory here. Some scientists believe that our universe is just one bubble in a vast ocean of bubbles, a multiverse. In this view, while our bubble expands and cools, countless other universes might be born elsewhere, popping into existence like fizz in a glass of soda. It suggests that while our story may end, the story of existence itself is infinite. However, for our specific universe, the future is one of solitude and silence. This brings us to the concept of entropy. In scientific terms, entropy is often described as disorder, but for our story it is better understood as sameness or smoothing out. Imagine pouring a cup of hot coffee into a room. Over time, the heat from the coffee spreads out until the coffee is cool and the air around it is slightly warmer. Eventually, everything becomes the exact same temperature. When everything is the same, nothing can happen. No energy flows, no work is done. The universe is currently like that cup of hot coffee. It has hot stars, cold voids, and swirling energy. But it is slowly cooling down. It is spreading its energy out thinner and thinner, across the stretching emptiness. This leads us to the final destination, a state known as the heat death. The name sounds frightening, scary, and violent, but it is actually the opposite. It is the big freeze. It is the moment when the universe reaches perfect equilibrium. It is a state of total balance. It is the ultimate rest. Let us walk through the timeline of this long twilight. First, the era of starlight will come to a close. Stars run on fuel, mostly hydrogen. They burn bright and hot, but their fuel is limited. In the distant future, trillions of years from now, the last gas clouds will be used up. No new stars will be born. The massive blue stars will have exploded long ago. The sun-like stars will have faded into white dwarfs, which are like glowing embers in a dying fire. The only things left will be the red dwarfs, the small dim stars that burn very slowly. But even they will eventually flicker and go out. The universe will turn black. The only light will come from the faint glow of dead stars cooling down. They will turn into black dwarfs, cold dark balls of dense matter that drift unseen in the dark. The night sky, once filled with the beautiful tapestry of the Milky Way, will be completely empty. Then even matter itself may begin to decay. The atoms that make up rocks, planets, and dead stars might slowly break apart. Protons, the building blocks of atomic nuclei, may dissolve into lighter particles and radiation. This happens over a timescale so long that if you wrote the number of years as a 1 followed by 80 zeros, it would still not be enough. During this black hole era, the universe will be dominated by these gravitational monsters. They will clean up the leftovers, swallowing the wandering remains of stars and planets. But even black holes are not immortal. As the physicist Stephen Hawking theorized, black holes slowly leak energy. They evaporate. It is a very slow process, like a lake drying up one drop at a time. Over eons that we cannot comprehend, the black holes will shrink and vanish, releasing their energy back into the void as a final faint breath of radiation. When the last black hole disappears, perhaps with a tiny pop of light, the universe will enter its final stage, the dark era. At this point, the universe is a sea of photons, particles of light, and neutrinos stretched out over unimaginable distances. The temperature will be just a tiny fraction above absolute zero, the coldest possible temperature where all movement stops. And this is where the concept of time begins to lose its meaning. Time is measured by change. We mark time by the rotation of the Earth, the ticking of a clock, or the beating of a heart. But in the heat death, nothing changes. There are no events, no stars explode, no planets orbit, no atoms collide. The universe has become a smooth, endless ocean of stillness. If nothing changes, does time still pass? In a way, the clock stops. The universe enters a state of timelessness. This is not a tragedy. Think of the history of the cosmos as a frantic, noisy, energetic explosion. It has been shouting, burning and churning for billions of years. It has worked hard to create galaxies, to forge elements in the hearts of stars, and to breathe life into existence. It has earned its rest. The heat. Death is the universe tucking itself in. It is the calm after the storm. It is the peace that comes when the work is finally done. There is a profound beauty in this emptiness. It is a return to the simplicity that existed before the Big Bang, but spread out over an infinite canvas. It is a clean slate that will never be written on again. It suggests that existence is not a chaotic accident that goes on forever in confusion, but a structured narrative with a beginning, a middle, and a peaceful end. So when we look up at the stars tonight, we should cherish them. We are living in the Goldilocks era of the universe, the brief shining moment when light, heat, and life are possible. We are the universe experiencing itself before it goes to sleep. The horizon of forever is not a cliff we fall off. It is a pillow we rest our heads upon. It is the promise that eventually all the noise, all the struggle, and all the chaos will smooth out into a perfect silent and eternal calm. It is the great good night. Now let us gently begin the journey home. We have travelled to the very edge of time and danced with the silent giants of the cosmos. We have seen the swirling galaxies and the quiet darkness between them. But now the gravity of your own existence is pulling you back. Feel yourself drifting away from the deep void, moving faster than light, gliding back toward that familiar corner of the Milky Way. You see the sun warm and bright. You see the blue marble of Earth spinning slowly in the suspension of space. Come closer. Descend through the clouds down into the room where you are right now. Settle back into the weight of your body. Feel the chair or the bed underneath you. Feel the rhythm of your chest rising and falling. You are back. But you are not the same person who left. You now carry a secret that changes everything. Look at your hand. Turn it over and look at the lines on your palm, the skin on your fingertips. It looks solid, doesn't it? It feels ordinary. But what if I told you that you are looking at a graveyard of ancient stars? What if I told you that your hand is made of things that travelled across the universe for billions of years just to become you? Let us unwind the clock. Before you were born, before your parents met, before the Earth was formed, the atoms that make up your body were floating in the chaos of space. But where do they come from? In the very beginning of the universe, there was mostly just simple gas, hydrogen, and helium. But you cannot build a human out of just gas. You cannot build a heart or a brain or a bone out of simple vapor. To build a human, you need heavy, complex materials. You need carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron. So the universe built factories, we call them stars. Imagine a massive star millions of times bigger than our sun, burning bright in the ancient darkness. Deep inside its core, the heat is unimaginable. It is a cosmic furnace. The pressure is so intense that it crushes atoms together, fusing them into new things. This star is not just burning, it is cooking. It is forging the building blocks of life. For millions of years, that star burned. It took the simple gas and crushed it until it became carbon, the same carbon that is now in every cell of your muscles. It crushed it further until it became oxygen, the same oxygen filling your lungs right now. It forged calcium, the white strength in your teeth and your skeleton. It forged iron, the red metal that colours your blood. Every single ingredient necessary for your life was cooked inside the belly of a star that lived long before the Earth existed. But the story does not end there. If that star had kept those elements inside, you would never exist. The star had to die for you to live. When that massive star ran out of fuel, it couldn't hold itself together anymore. It collapsed inward and then exploded with the power of 1 billion nuclear bombs. This is called a supernova. It was a violent, beautiful, catastrophic explosion that lit up the galaxy. And in that explosion, the star sacrificed itself. It threw all those precious treasures, the carbon, the nitrogen, the gold, the iron, out into the empty darkness of space. These clouds of stardust drifted for eons. They swirled and danced, eventually coming together to form our solar system, our planet, and finally you. Take a deep breath in. That air you just breathed. It has passed through the lungs of history, but its atoms were born in a nuclear fire. Place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating. Thump, 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 thump. That blood pumping through your veins is rich in iron. That iron was created in the final moments of a dying star's life, right before it exploded. You have the wreckage of a supernova flowing through your veins. You're not just living on the universe, you are made of the universe. You are stardust briefly assembled into the shape of a human being. This is why you feel a connection when you look up at the night sky. You are looking at your ancestors. You are looking at the place where you were forged. You are a child of the cosmos wearing a human skin. But the wonder does not stop at the atoms. Being made of stardust is physics. But you are something more. Your biology, your consciousness. Think about the odds. The universe is mostly empty space, cold and dead. Rocks and gas do not think, they do not feel. A stone does not know it is a stone, a star does not know it is burning. But you are the universe waking up. Over billions of years, those dead atoms of stardust learned how to cooperate. They formed molecules, then cells, then complex creatures. They learned to replicate, they learned to sense the light, and eventually they came together to form the most complex object in the known universe, your brain. Your brain is a collection of atoms that has gained the ability to think about itself. You are the universe experiencing itself. Through your eyes, the universe sees its own beauty. Through your ears, the universe hears its own music. Through your heart, the universe feels love. Do not let anyone tell you that you are small. Do not let anyone tell you that you are insignificant, because you are just one person on a small planet. In significant ways, you are rare. You are precious. You are the only mechanism the universe has to feel joy. Without you, the sunset is just light hitting the atmosphere. It is not beautiful until you see it. Without you, a symphony is just vibrations in the air. It is not music until you hear it. You give the universe meaning. Think about the struggles you have faced. The days you felt not good enough, the days you felt lost. Now look at yourself from this cosmic perspective. You're a masterpiece of assembly. It took 13.8 billion years of explosions, collisions, cooling and evolving just to create the specific combination of energy that is you. The universe did not make a mistake with you. The universe does not waste its stardust. You are here for a reason, even if that reason is simply to witness the glory of being alive. Your body is a temple built from the debris of stars designed to house the miracle of a mind. So treat yourself with the reverence you deserve. When you drink water, remember you are drinking comets that crashed into Earth long ago. When you eat, remember you are consuming the energy of the sun captured by plants. When you look in the mirror, do not critique the shape of your face or the scars on your skin. Look deeper. See the ancient light trapped in matter. You are a traveller who has arrived at a destination called life. It is a short trip in the grand scale of time. Eventually, the atoms that make you up will return to the cycle, drifting off to become trees or mountains, or perhaps part of another star someday. But right now they are yours. They are obeying your command. They are holding you together so that you can feel the warmth of the sun and the embrace of a loved one. You are the diamond in the rough. You are the song in the silence. Rest in this knowledge. Let a sense of worthiness rise up from your bones. You do not need to earn your place here. You earned it by surviving the journey from the core of a star to this very moment. You belong here. You are exactly where you are meant to be. You have travelled so far to reach this moment. The engines of your mind, which have been working hard all day, are finally beginning to cool down. The long voyage through the day is over. You have navigated through the noise, through the light, and through the tasks that demanded your attention. But now the ship that is your body has found its harbour. There is nowhere else you need to go. There is nothing else you need to solve. The map has been put away. The controls are set to automatic. You are simply drifting now, carried by the gentle current of the cosmos. Take a moment to feel the silence that is wrapping around you. It is not an empty silence. It is a supportive, heavy and comforting cinders. It is the same soldier that exists between the stars. Imagine that you are floating in that vast dark ocean of space. It is not cold but perfectly comfortable. It is a temperature that matches your own, a perfect balance where you cannot tell where your skin ends and the velvet darkness begins. You are weightless. The gravity of the earth still holds you safely to your bed, but your spirit feels light, untethered and free to float. Think back gently without effort to the journey you have taken. You have seen the bright lights of the day, just as a traveller sees the burning brightness of a star. But every star must eventually rest, and every planet has a dark side that faces away from the heat. You are now entering your own dark phase, the restorative shadow where life repairs itself. This is a biological necessity, a rule written into your very DNA. Just as the universe expands and rests, your body knows exactly what to do. You do not need to force sleep. Sleep is not something you do. It is something you allow. It is a gift you accept. Let your attention drift to your breathing. Do not try to change it yet. Just observe it. Notice the air entering your body, bringing in oxygen, the element of life. Notice the air leaving your body, carrying away carbon dioxide, the waste, the tension, the things you no longer need. It is a perfect exchange. With every breath out, you are releasing the weight of the past 12 hours. Let it go. Imagine that every exhalation is a puff of steam disappearing into the cool night air. It is gone. It cannot touch you anymore. Now let us slow everything down. Imagine the atoms in your body. Usually they vibrate with energy and heat, but now visualize them slowing down. From a fast vibration, they slow to a gentle rhythmic hum. Everything in the universe vibrates, but tonight your vibration is syncing with the slow, deep pulse of the Earth itself. You're tuning into a lower frequency. You're moving from the high alertness of the day into the deep, slow waves of the night. Focus on your feet. Feel them getting heavy. It is a pleasant heaviness, like sinking into soft, warm sand. Let that feeling of relaxation travel up your legs, over your knees and into your hips. The large muscles that carry you through the world are turning off. They are powering down. The electrical signals are fading. There is zero tension remaining. Feel the relaxation move up your spine, vertebra by vertebra. Your back is melting into the mattress. Your shoulders, which often carry the weight of the world, are dropping. Let them fall. Let them drop away from your ears. Let your arms become loose and limp, your hands resting gently, your fingers curling naturally. There is no need to hold on to anything. The universe is holding you. Now bring your awareness to your face or face. This is where we hold so much hidden tension. Smooth out your forehead. Imagine a warm hand gently wiping away any worry lines. Relax the tiny muscles around your eyes. Let your eyes sink deep into their sockets. Relax your jaw. Unclench your teeth. Let your tongue rest softly at the bottom of your mouth. Your face is smooth, expressionless, and peaceful. You're wearing the face of deep sleep. We will now begin a breathing pattern to signal your nervous system that it is safe to shut down completely. I want you to breathe in slowly for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath gently for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale completely through your mouth, making a soft whoosh sound for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that again. Breathe in quietly through your nose. Feel your lungs fill with the stardust of the universe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Let the oxygen settle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale, slowly releasing every last drop of tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue this rhythm on your own if you like, or simply let your breath return to its natural shallow rhythm. You are like a dormant star flickering softly, conserving energy. The darkness behind your eyelids is expanding. It is becoming a vast, safe space. You are not alone in this darkness. The universe is guarding you. Above you, even if you cannot see them, billions of stars are burning quietly. They have been there for billions of years, and they will be there when you wake up. They are the eternal sentinels, the watchers in the night. They do not judge, they simply exist. And in their presence, your problem seems so small. They are microscopic compared to the galaxies. You can let them go. You can leave them in the hands of the cosmos for tonight. Imagine that your bed is a small capsule drifting in deep space. The glass is thick and safe. Outside there is only the beautiful endless black. It is quiet. There is no sound of traffic, no voices, no digital notifications, just the deep resonant hum of existence. You're completely isolated from worry. You're protected by the vacuum of space. Nothing can reach you here. Drifting. You are simply drifting. The concept of time is disappearing. There is no past and there is no future. There is only this single elongated moment of comfort. Minutes and hours mean nothing here. You're floating in eternity. Your brainwaves are slowing down, moving into the delta state. These are the slow, high-amplitude waves of deep, restorative sleep. This is where your body heals. This is where your memories are stored. This is where you are renewed. Feel a wave of warmth washing over you from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. It is a wave of pure relaxation. It feels like warm water, or perhaps like liquid sunlight. It washes away the last remnants of consciousness. You are sinking deeper now, deeper than you have been all day, deeper than you were 5 minutes ago. The logical mind is turning off. The part of you that asks questions is going to sleep. The part of you that dreams is waking up. You are safe to let go of the control wheel. The autopilot is engaged. The destination is a place of total rest. I will count down from 10 to 1. With each number, you will drift further away from the waking world and closer to the world of dreams. 10. The external world is fading away. The sounds are becoming distant echoes. 9. Your body feels twice as heavy. You couldn't move a muscle even if you wanted to, and you don't want to. 8. A feeling of profound peace settles in your chest. 7. Drifting deeper. The darkness is soft and velvety. 6. Your thoughts are becoming fragmented like clouds dissolving in the sky. 5. Halfway to the stars, you are weightless. 4. Deeper still, the silence is absolute. 3. Almost there, the door to sleep is opening. 2. Letting go of the last thread of consciousness. 1-0. You are now part of the drift. You are one with the silence. The universe is cradling you in its vast dark arms. There is nothing left to do but sleep. Sleep. Deep, dreamless, restorative sleep. The stars will watch over you, the night will protect you, and when you wake you will be new again. But for now, just drift. Drift into the endless, peaceful dark. Good night.